seriously, Hydra really enhanced my experimental flow, and now I'm not that confused anymore what I actually ran and how I should compose my experiments. So I would really like to show you Hydra. And just for the record, I'm not sponsored. I'm not affiliated to the dev team of Hydra. I just like to use it. So I think we can skip this one because I already introduced myself. I love automation. Yes. So what can Hydra do? So it can provide an easy and a clear experimental configuration. We don't have any boilerplate regarding I/O because if you run experiments, it's also nice to log stuff and also log the configuration you ran your experiment with. And this is done automatically. Also, you can easily set up nice output directory structures and so on. What is also nice is the bigger your project gets, the more components you have to configure, and you can actually modularize your configurations and stack them together, which is pretty awesome, which I'll show you later as well. And what's also nice, we can easily parallelize running either locally or also in clusters. So we can easily say, hey, do the same thing, but for 10 seeds. And last but not least, Hydra has also the functionality of sweepers. So you can easily optimize your function, and I will give you a sneak peek into the alpha version of the Hydra Spec Sweeper. So that also integrates with the Hydra interface, which can be really nice. So let's have a look at how Hydra works. I think this example is helpful to understand the workflow. This is not my image credit, but from another Hydra tutorial, just so that you know. So we start with our configuration.yaml, and we have two further configurations for a small variation, for a large variation. All those configuration files go into the Hydra loader, and Hydra smashes them together depending on how you set it up. And in the end, you get a dict config object. The dict config holds your complete configuration. What is really nice is that you can also instantiate objects via your configuration file. So you can have properly instantiated objects going into your main function. So the config goes into the main function, and this is where your normal target function runs, or whatever you're trying to do, the training script or whatever. And what we cover in this tutorial, or what the notebook covers, is we start with a parameterizable function, move the hyperparameter out as a dict config. I show you how Hydra decorates this function, how the configuration file is specified, and how you can use Hydra via the command line, because I think many of you probably used ArcParse before, and there you have your command line and you can add arguments. This is also something you can do with Hydra, but in a more mighty way. Then I show you how sweeps work, for example, multiple seeds in a sequential manner, or using launchers, either local via Joblib, or also Slurm launchers are possible. Then how to compose configurations, how to instantiate objects, and how to do hyperparameter optimization if you want. So we already get to the practical part. Unfortunately, I cannot give you a nice collab. I need to ask you to download or clone this repo and run bash install.h. I hope it all works, which creates and activates a conda environment and starts the package, because we need actual files for the configuration. And I can briefly show you, I'll go back to that slide later. And I would like to briefly show you the notebook. That's really small, sorry about that. Here, yes. So we start with our classical training pipeline. For those of you who have been here the previous sessions, maybe the example looks very familiar. So we just used the same example, decorated with Hydra. Actually, I need the outline here. How interpolation works, how overriding the command line works, sweeps, launchers, composition, instantiation, and hyperparameter optimization. And you can go through the notebook cell by cell, read what I added there. And if you have any questions similar to this Mac tutorial, just ask. So I put up the slide back again where you can find the code. And I'd say happy working. And I'll go to the wrap up roughly at 35, so in half an hour, I would say. Yeah, all right. I hope you have fun. And I hope maybe it also can transform your life like it did for me. Okay, everyone. I hope you were able to at least try something with Hydra. And if you didn't work through the notebook, maybe you can take the time and scroll through it later on, because it can be really helpful for your research. And also regarding synergies or comparisons with the PyExperimenter. So one big difference is that PyExperimenter logs stuff to a database, and Hydra just works on your file system. For Hydra, you can also just easily have artifacts or log artifacts, for example, trained models. Both Hydra and PyExperimenter have its disadvantages and advantages. It's just what your specific use case is and what you like working with a bit more. So what did we learn in this session? So how we can configure our experiments without losing track with Hydra, how to compose configurations with different files, and how to run stuff in parallel. So if you forget stuff, there should be stuff in the notebook. And also having a short sneak peek into the Hydra snake sweeper, how the interface works.